everybody. Thanks for joining me while I do my nails. The first thing I do is set up this, yes, you know what it is. It's a puppy mat. It really is the best way to protect my desk and collect all of the dust and stuff that comes off when you do your nails. I used to use a towel and that just became very dirty and build up, and it just wasn't nice. So yeah, I'm just setting up all of the items that I use for removal. I have a 100% acetone bottle that I got from CVS, my cuticle remover, some cotton balls and cotton rounds, a cuticle nipper, a 180/90 nail file, as well as the nail trimmer, which I use to remove the nail extensions. I do also have a nail pusher that helps push back my cuticles, as well as a little brush to pick up any little dust that is on my nail file as well as my nail. I'm switching out the nail bit on my electric nail file. I have tried a more inexpensive nail file, but this nail file is just professional and very good quality. I have been using this electric file for a while, and then I got this tip that is very sharp, so definitely be careful when you are filing close to your cuticle. It can definitely cause some cuts if you don't use it properly. So I have been doing my nails for probably about 1.5 years now, so I have learned how to be very patient and control the use of where it goes and try to keep it in the middle of the tip. I do move my fingers in all kinds of crazy positions depending on where I need to remove that top layer, which is usually the polish. I do try and go a little bit deeper to get the nail extension and the gel as thin as possible, which in the end helps the removal process go a little bit faster. So I will be speeding up, big chunks of the video just because a lot of it is repetition, but I wanted to really keep the core sections in here, so there will be timestamps at the bottom to help you guys navigate if you ever need to go back, or there's just one section that you are curious about. I will mostly be speeding up, the right hand, because I usually work on my left first and then I will work on my right, so that's mostly the one that I will be speeding up. But you can learn how my technique is by watching it. I think real time is just very time consuming. It does take me about 2 to 2.5 hours to do my nails, but I really go at my own pace. I don't rush the process, and taking my time really helps with the retention. My nails last me about 2.5 to 3 weeks. The set that I had on here, the green nails, was 2 weeks, and it really wasn't lifting as much. You will see here when I'm pulling these cuticle areas, some nails have a lot of lifting, but many are just minimal. So that's what I found has been the best process for keeping the retention as long as possible. When you are removing your nails, the nail polish remover should be 100% acetone. The other lower levels will not remove it as efficiently. This is the only 100% acetone that I found. I ran out and it was in this bottle, which shows that you could put your finger one by one, but I need to do my entire full hand, so I just make sure to put cuticle oil on my cuticles because the acetone will dry out your skin. So I do apply that before I put the acetone on. And then I will use these little clips, which aren't the best, I'm gonna be honest. I think foil would be a little bit better, but it's just time consuming to cut all of the foil. I don't have the ones that are pre-cut, and I really don't want to spend money on buying those little squares, so I just use these, which work okay. But I recently got some little hoods, I don't know what to call them, but they're little pockets, and I found them at Daiso. So you know, I can link something similar, I will put as an option, but I found that those little pockets worked really well and they kept the heat because acetone can heat up and it'll help to lift the gel off of your natural nail. Each time I remove, I put my timer for 12 minutes. 12 minutes has been the time that I have found to work the best. You'll see here on some nails, the tip is the section that doesn't always completely lift at the first time that you put the acetone, so sometimes you'll have to reapply another cotton ball with acetone and leave it for another 12 minutes. It just depends, and you know, once you start to do your nails more, you know, you'll find what works best for you. That's what I have found. I do use my little brush to stable my wrist because, you know, it does take, as you see, I'm like scraping the gel off of my nail, but I'm not like pushing on to damage my nail bed. I am mostly just touching the gel glue that stayed on the nail bed of my nail, if that makes sense. I will use the cuticle nippers to also cut my nails. I do cut them the same natural shape that my nails grow out, which is usually round, and I do also file them in that direction. In the past, I used to leave my nails a little bit longer, but I just would find that it was a little bit easier to apply the Gelx when there wasn't so much of your natural nail. It just depends on how I feel. Sometimes I will leave them a little bit longer, but since I'm currently going through regrowing them, and so the ends of my nails are left over from when the press-on extension, not extension, but when the press-ons damaged my nail, so I have been cutting them every time I redo them. So this is the only cuticle remover solution that I have used. I know there are a few out there on the market, but I found this big bottle at Sally's and I have been using it ever since I got it. It's been a good amount of time and I haven't found really any issues with it. I think you definitely should leave it on your cuticles at least for 30 seconds or so, and it'll just help to soften the cuticles to help you distinguish which you should cut. In this set, I was only pushing back my cuticles and just doing a little bit of cleanup. Since I did my nails 2 weeks prior, they really weren't that bad. I have found that cutting my cuticles every other set is what's worked best for me. I also don't cut a big chunk of my cuticles. I really try to keep it minimal. I found that when I would go to the salon, and no hate on them, they really always do an amazing job, but they would cut a lot of the cuticle, and I felt like every time that would happen, more of my cuticles would grow. So I really try and just keep it to what is extremely necessary and what I feel would be bothersome to my nails. I really don't have a problem with a lot of cuticle skin, so definitely using your cuticle oil every day helps your cuticles stay fresh and not overgrow. Then use the nail file. I honestly don't remember the grit to it, so I will link the pack in the description, but as you can see, it definitely has a lot of wear on it and I need to replace it soon. But this is what I use to shape my nail and just take off any excess on the sides so that the gel from the gel glue doesn't ooze into my skin. And I will also use this nail file on the nail bed to give it some roughness so that when I apply the Gelx, it'll have something to adhere to. Changing again the nail file bit to a kind of round, definitely less coarse one, and that's the one that I use to clean up after, but I just like to change it and have it there when I'm done so that I can just jump right into it when this step is ready. But for Gelx, I am using the Après nails, and these are the new sets that have half sizes. If you saw my little sticky note, I do know what sizes I use, but at times I can switch just depending on what mood I'm in or how much I want to file. You do want to make sure that the tips fit your nail beds sidewall to sidewall. If you're not sure what that means, you basically want the tip of the nail to be right along the side of the skin of your nail. So you want it to be flush with it. And my cuticles have very different shapes and sizes, so I definitely have to work to reshape the tips. In this shot here, I am trying to show you how the side of the nail extension fits flush along the cuticle and the side walls of my nail. Hopefully you guys can, see that clearly. I'm putting rubbing alcohol on a cotton pad and wiping the inside of the nail tips that will be prepping. So I do this to kind of clean up any dust that was collected from filing them, and then I will prime them using the pH bond, which you will see in a moment. There is one step that I do before that on my natural nail, but you can also file the inside of, the nail tip, but I have found that the pH bond works just as well, and it saves, a lot of time trying to file the inside of the nail tips, which can be tricky. my natural nail, you saw earlier, I did wipe my nail beds with the rubbing alcohol, but I will also use this nail prep. You can use either or. I just am extra and use both, as well as the pH bond, but this is the prep step that I use for my Gelx application. Again, I'm not a professional, but you know, you can definitely do more research on how it should be applied. I found these items effective. I've never tried any other ones, so I mean, I have tried a few other pH bonds, and the one that comes with this number one, I found that it was okay, but I liked the Gelx a little bit more, Gelx pH bond a little bit more, and so that's why I'm using it now. Ever since I started using the Gelx method, I have used the Beetles nail glue. I have not used any other brand, and honestly, this nail glue has not failed me yet with this prep. So, you know, you definitely should make sure that you're covering your entire nail. And with the nail glue, you want to try not to get any on your cuticle. You will find that if you do, you will have to file it off, which you will see later on, but you know, you definitely just want to apply a thin coat on your natural nail, and then I cure that for 30 seconds. I will do my best to explain how I apply my Gelx. There are many videos out there, of course, you know, this is just my experience, but I am running low on this bottle, so, you know, I may re-dip it a few times, and there will be times where you will get bubbles, but don't get discouraged. You know, even if there's bubbles, they will still last you a good amount of time. But you want to grab some of the gel glue, apply it under the nail tip to where the nail tip will touch your nail, because not all of the nail extension will touch your nail bed. So you kind of want to measure how high you need it. Then you will glide the excess nail glue along the bottom edge of the nail. Then you'll want to quickly push it onto your nail bed from cuticle to tip at a 90-degree angle. Then you want to just hold it there kind of at an angle to where you'll see the glue gel move up, and that's when you want to put it under the light. This light also came in the same kit when I first bought the Gelx kit, and it still works perfectly fine. However, that's not a full cure, and you still need to put your hand under the big UV light, but I usually put it under the mini light for about 15 seconds. It does automatically turn on and turn off with your touch, so that is the good part. Unfortunately, I did have to add a lot of more glue gel under my nail because there were gaps in between my natural nail and the nail extension, and for my index as well as my pinky, they're a little bit more curved, so I just drag more of the nail glue and kind of just pat it along to where it'll be a flush, because I don't like that spacing in between. So I prefer to have the glue gel go all the way up and be thick under my nail so that nothing gets under your nail when you're like eating and stuff. And to be honest, it works better than just leaving it the same level as my nail bed. So yeah, that's just a trick of mine. But you definitely want to make sure that at the end of your set you wipe it with a alcohol, rubbing alcohol, so that it doesn't collect a lot of lint, but it's under your nails so you're not gonna see it. I am now starting with my right hand, which is my dominant, so I am painting with my left, my non-dominant. And since I have done my nails, by myself for a year and a half, I have definitely learned how to really go slow and make sure that I line the brush with my cuticles so that it doesn't go all over the place, and I really try to go slow and control it. You definitely don't want to get any of the gel glue on your cuticles, but in the occasion that you do, you could definitely use a thin little brush and you can dip it in the rubbing alcohol prior to curing the gel to be able to get any of the excess off of your skin or any other areas that it shouldn't be there. Once again, you'll see that I am adding extra glue again under my nail to create that smooth evenness so that I don't get stuff stuck in between my nails. There's always a gap for me because I have flat nail beds and it's a common issue, but adding the gel glue under again has cured perfectly fine. It doesn't chip, and I constantly wash my hands, but I will say using gloves when you are washing the dishes or cleaning definitely helps to keep the retention of the gel, but yeah, I always do the step for myself because I always have gaps and some of my nails are very, very flat compared to the nail tips. Once the tips are on, I will file the edges of the nail extensions because at times they're a little bit rough or it'll have extra stuff on it, and then I will also file the sides of the nail to blend in with my natural nail, and that way it can look, you know, a little bit natural. Then I will go in with a buffer and I will buff the edges. Since I do have a toddler and, you know, I have to give him a bath every day, I like to file them as much as possible so that they're smooth. Then I will use the little corner bit the pointy bit that I showed in the beginning of this process, and I will just file the cuticle area to blend in as much as possible. I have overdone it at times on this step, so you know, you really don't have to use an electrical file. You can definitely use just a regular file and file the cuticle area, or you could just leave it alone. But I found that doing this step and trying to even it out to the way that your natural nail grows helps with the retention. So if there's a bigger gap, there's a bigger chance that the nail tip will lift from your natural nail, and then, you know, you obviously will be getting stuck on things and your hair will get under it. So I definitely like to even this out as much as possible so that it doesn't lift as quickly. I don't think I mentioned, I think I forgot, but the kit of the UV lamp comes with so many accessories, so I will link it below. And the nail electric nail file also came with that whole set of nail bits, except the really coarse one that I used to remove the gel in the beginning of the video. Then I will buff out the entire nail to be ready to apply the gel color. So I had two color options because I wanted to do a brown chrome, which is the little chrome, you know, I took out the chrome, but in the end I didn't use it because it was too purple. I actually found that chrome at the 99-cent store, but I didn't end up using it. It just didn't look right over brown, so you guys are gonna see a brown set. Once you're all done, you want to make sure that you clean your nail of any excess dirt with the rubbing alcohol again. You can also grab a little brush and get really deep into the cuticle to make sure that you seal in. I just use this cotton swab and, you know, it works just as well. And then you guys will see how my nails look prior to painting them. typically always do 2 coats of color. I rarely do 3, but I do make sure to cover the sides and seal the free edge, which is the nail extension part that isn't touching your skin, so the tips usually. You want to make sure to do that because if you don't seal the edges, the gel can chip and then it'll chip the polish. I mean, I haven't had that happen in quite some time, but I feel like it looks best when you definitely fill in the edges because you don't see the clear tip, you know, when you're looking at your hands or anything like that. Unfortunately, as I was editing this video, I noticed that I didn't get a final result of how they came out. So the next shot that you guys are gonna see is kind of how it turned out. You can always look on my Instagram, and I do post my nail sets in my stories. But if you have any questions, you know, leave them in the comment box, or you could DM me on Instagram. If you found this helpful, please let me know. If you liked this video, I would love if you can like it and subscribe if you guys like this content. You know, leave me a comment if there's any sets that you guys want me to do. I definitely am not very good at nail art, but yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. And again, I feel like such a failure that I didn't get a final result, but it was late. Jojo was getting antsy the whole time he was watching his Cars movie, which he's obsessed with right now. But yeah, I appreciate it if you guys made it this far, and thank you guys for watching.